Welcome to the Digital Health Voice, an exclusive podcast brought to you by MedTech World and supported by Digital Health Malta. Thank you for your continuous support. We are truly committed to bringing you exclusive guests from all around the world and getting them to share their journey with you all. If you know of anyone who would be a good guest, please let us know. In the meantime, see you at any of our next events.
Episode number 12. And today we're going back to the UK, but with a bit of a Portuguese touch to things. And today we're going to be meeting with João Bocas. João Bocas is really and truly one of the top digital health influencers. His history goes way back to 2015. And we've even met in Denmark for the very first time. And I'd love to introduce him as top digital health influencer and CEO of Digital Salutem. And with that in mind, let's dive deep into the video interview / podcast. Welcome, João. Wow, so happy. I like to start with like this bit of a like a shake in the beginning, because it gives me so much energy, and at the same time it really helps me connect with you, João. And I wanted to introduce the lovely João. João is the CEO of Digital Salutem, but even more than that, he's the top digital health influencer. So honored that you were able to spend a couple of minutes with us, really and truly, because you have such a busy schedule, João. Thank you so much for that.
Stefan, delighted to see you and delighted to be here. And thank you so much for the invite.
Yeah. So, João, we were really lucky to have you in Malta for MedTech World 2021. Like, what good memories you have from this event? Did you enjoy it? Were you happy? Like, I'd love to have your feedback on the show.
Thank you for the invite again. I was truly blessed to be in Malta. I love Malta, by the way. I meant to visit Malta a few times. Also, you are a personal friend. It was a blessing in disguise. We connected. We know each other for a long time. But also, let me give you some honest feedback around the event. I believe you've done incredibly well. The content was very rich. It was a very good combination between public health, some big players there, some innovative startups. So I was delighted to be involved and also witness on the ground your great work.
Wow, thank you, João. We're really happy with that feedback, and we will continue working. We will continue to strive to be better and better, because that is really in line with our values and our long-term mission. But João, I am really intrigued with one thing, because as the conversations evolved with you, you had like such a amazing background. You started off in sports. You were working specifically in football, specifically there. You have like a very interesting background. You even moved from Portugal, if I'm not mistaken, to the UK, and you really had an amazing impact in the community in Brighton. And this kind of explains as well, João, your digital health journey, especially with a focus on wearables. I still love like the way you presented yourself as well, and you continue presenting yourself as a speaker. Really, really inspirational, like your story. But tell me more about it. Like, what got you into digital health in the first place? Were you always involved in digital health? What's your story, João?
Oh, brilliant. My journey is very interesting. Let me give you a bit of background. As you mentioned, I was involved in professional sport. Actually, I worked for the local community club, Brighton and Hove Albion Football Club. Now is a Premiership club. I worked in football for a long time as a coach, academy and community coach. I always had an interest. I have two passions, really. I have a passion for sport and a passion for health. Okay. And then I also started to work in corporate wellness. I worked in corporate wellness for a number of years, for about 10 years. I was advising companies on well-being, employee well-being, wellness, and health programs and everything. I was doing a number of things with corporates in London around stress management, nutrition, performance, stress, lots of different things. This is the interesting bit, Stefan. I actually entered digital health, let's say the technology side, by accident. In 2015, I was doing a startup with a friend of mine. It didn't go well because we didn't go to market, but we had this big idea to create a digital health platform and connect the wearables and all the data with it. But prior to that, I was already doing some consultancy with some very interesting health tech startups from the Nordics, primarily Finland, Norway, Denmark. So I was probably in digital health, in health tech, without realizing, more on the business side, on the business development and consulting side. But then from 2015, what happened was we were doing this startup. We're part of a very large accelerator in Brighton. And from then, that experience really enabled, it was a failure, to be honest, but that experience really catapulted me into the marketplace. You know, I'm a networker, I love talking to people. I used to go to Digital Catapult in London to network and do small talks and workshops and everything. And from there, I built a very large network and everybody started to know me and things just evolved from there. And then the last 7 years, as you know, I've been very, very involved in digital health. And I never really claimed this is not about number 1 or number 101 or number 20. It's not about that. It's not a ranking for me because I'm a collaborator. I like to push other people up and I like to be involved and I like to help people. But I was actually the first person to call myself digital health influencer. I have business cards in 2015, and I used to go network with a business card saying CEO of Digital Salutem, digital health influencer. And people used to ask me, what does that mean? So, yeah.
You should definitely frame that business card, João, for sure. Like, frame it oh, all right. So send me a picture of it, I really love it. I have to admit, I really, really enjoy talking to you because, for one main thing, because you really exude confidence, but at the same time, you also exude your genuineness, And I think that is something so important in someone working in digital health, because we need to be genuine, because we need to develop trust. If we're not developing trust, people will simply not trust. They won't believe in this digital health solution. So it's so important that we develop trust. But I also would like to commend you, João, because this is something extremely important, where you believe a lot in collaboration. If you didn't believe in collaboration, for sure, you wouldn't have come on this podcast and video interview. So definitely just having you here is your genuine belief in this concept. But I'd like to hear more about your projects and your stories. I know that you've done even another amazing video interview series on YouTube, which I love to follow, and you have such distinguished guests, really. And I really have a lot to learn from you there. But tell us more about these projects. Tell us more about Digital Salutem. I see that right behind you, you have the Digital Salutem logo. Nice colors. But tell us more about it. I'd love to hear more.
Yeah, sure. Well, I didn't really kind of finish the story. What happened with that startup failure was I found the Digital Salutem. And part of this accelerator, that's Digital Salutem was born, if you like, as out of my failure in my startup attempt. Okay. And I formed this company. It was a consulting company. To be honest with you, Stefan, I didn't know what I was going to do with it. I thought I need a business. I had clients and I had people collaborating. I was doing consultancy and business development and social media marketing. I needed a business. And for a few years, Digital Salutem was a bit like just me doing networking and trying to get consultancy projects and everything. But now, Digital Salutem, I actually have a big vision for Digital Salutem to be a global player, to be well known globally is my ambition, and contribute to the industry as a whole But now we are on a mission to make healthcare uncomplicated by transcending the barriers to human health. And we're doing that through technology and also through some expertise and some part of the learnings that we have in the industry along the way. I accumulated quite a lot of wisdom and knowledge and experience through achievement, through failures, through learning with others, through going to places and collaborate, such as going to Malta and other parts of the world, where I can see the challenges on the ground. I can talk to people. I'm certainly not an expert in everything. I'm learning in different areas, but also accumulate a lot of knowledge that we're helping our clients with that. So Digital Salutem now is on a big mission. Thanks for acknowledging the branding and the background. The logo, by the way, means a medical background, and now we're doing big things, and we're working with some very well-known brands in healthcare. I have a big partnership with a technology company, and this is very exciting that you don't know, and let me tell you. And then I go back to the podcast. We are actually entering the US market. I'm going to US in March. Make an announcement. We were going to pursue the US market with some partnerships, also taking my brand and my company brand into US, which is very exciting. Going to be at IMSS in March. But let me go back to the podcast. The podcast was launched on 13th of January 2021, right in the middle of the pandemic. And as you know, I have a very wide network, and more or less, I know everyone in digital health. And I was thinking, people call me a connector, global this, global that. And I was thinking, how can I leverage my network, the people that I know, also create good content and contribute to the industry? So I created the YouTube channel, Digital Health and Wearables series, where my vision is to create the biggest healthcare channel in the world and have the biggest influencers there, public health, innovators, have all the stakeholders involved. I have patient advocates' voices there, people from US, from UK, from Central Europe, from Asia, from all over the world. And now we celebrated 1 year anniversary, and it's going strength to strength. I actually have very large brands interested in the channel now and collaborating. I'm extremely pleased because at the beginning, it was an idea. It's always a challenge to start something from scratch. I have a bit of an advantage because I've been in the industry and I know people. I know I could get some really high profile guests right away. We started really well. And now my challenge is, how do I maintain that standard? Yeah, I have all these guests in year one, and now we are in year two. But I love a challenge, and every week I try to have some really good quality to feed the audience and also address all these challenges in healthcare. It's a bit of a think tank. I don't use that terminology, but if you go there, there are 54 guests, thought leaders, more or less on any subject, from cybersecurity to wearables to digital transformation to innovation in pharma. Is a lot there.
Wow, congratulations, João. Definitely something to be inspired from. Don't worry, I'll keep pushing you the same way that you're pushing me. So we'll keep each other in check as well. But João, I'm sure that you've been working with a number, as you've been mentioning before, you've been working with healthcare organizations and health professionals. I'm also seeing a lot of valuable content coming from your digital content and digital presence. So, but like in a nutshell, how do you make the experience provided by Digital Salutem? And now you've mentioned like working with other providers. How do you make it work for healthcare organizations and healthcare professionals? How do you make this experience of working with Digital Salutem unique?
Well, fantastic question. Well, I believe one of our unique selling points and the value proposition is the expertise and the connections. We also help companies and organizations navigate this digital health complex system, shall I say. and every country is different. It's not just about technology, it's many things to think beyond technology. We mentioned patient advocates and we mentioned patient voices. Is a lot of things to consider. Also, one thing that we're doing extremely well, our mission is to make, the tagline is to make healthcare uncomplicated. So removing barriers around implementation of technology, around communicating with patients, around entering markets and collaboration. But also one thing that I believe we do extremely well, and some large brands came to us for that, is to, some brands are in healthcare, but most people, they don't know they are in healthcare. So we have like a branding issue. For example, some very large tech brands are associated with a specific industry. I don't really want to mention names in here, but for example, a very well-established brand is always associated with lightning. They're not associated with healthcare. And one of the things that we are doing really well is we help brands to come out of obscurity. We have these digital networks, we have this global presence. So we help brands online to get attention, to amplify their messages, to connect with others in the industry, and most importantly, let people know that they exist in the industry.
Wow, I mean, if I had to take like 2 words that I really remember, is like headcare and uncomplicated. Sometimes those 2 words don't really go along together because healthcare is such a dynamic field. It's something always changing. It's something always evolving. And since we have such a scientific approach in healthcare, there are times where you first kind of start off in one way and then it changes. Like the pandemic, for example, was constantly changing, constantly dynamic. The scientific evidence all the time changing. Oh my God, like sometimes it drives you even crazy. But somehow, despite all of that, I think we have a lot to learn, and like making healthcare uncomplicated, and even like the way we communicate. You've mentioned something extremely important there, that the way we communicate is critical to make sure that this works for everyone. For patients, healthcare professionals, healthcare organizations. So if you communicate well and if you generate trust, you create this circle of trust, which then everyone is a win-win. Everyone wins out of this. And you, João, have experienced this really yourself. So, João, some futuristic thinking now, like blue sky thinking. Imagine that you are unlimited and you can do this. Like, what does the future look like for digital health and MedTech? How does Digital Salutem fit into the whole picture?
Yeah, as I mentioned, the tagline, making healthcare uncomplicated, by removing barriers, by making accessibility, by, of course, trying to have equality standards. Certain countries are privatized, certain countries, for example, in the Third World War, they don't even have healthcare in the first place. But what I would see is a couple of things in here are extremely important, and you rephrased the healthcare uncomplicated, making things simpler. And if you see the most successful brands in the world, the likes of Apple, Steve Jobs, he go and do his presentations in a t-shirt and talks about this device. And he always presents a very simplistic idea. This device makes your life better by doing this. I think we need, as a lesson to learn in healthcare, to simplify everything, whatever that is the process. Technology is there to simplify, is not there to be another complex issue on top. So I think we all need to learn that. I'm certainly learning my way around that. And now in terms of futuristic approach, I would like to see, in an ideal world, everybody taking responsibility for their health, being really well educated, and in the end, the outcome would be self-care. And this is a funny thing, linking back to that startup failure that I had in 2015. The name of the company was Self-Care People. My idea was to let's help people to self-care with technology. And I'm in a different route now, but I'm still on that kind of path to make a world a better place, enable people to better look after themselves in ideal terms. And now, of course, I can talk about biomarkers, I can talk about the wearables, I can talk about sensors, I can talk about artificial intelligence, bring all this to the big picture, but in layman terms, make things simpler, whether that is with a wearable, with a smart belt, with a smart ring, whatever that is. And that would be the ultimate outcome to enable one person to look after themselves in the better way possible.
Yeah, I think especially with the fact that the gap between what we need and what we have, especially when it comes to healthcare workforce, is always widening and widening and widening. Now, the role of having people focusing on self-care and using all possible technologies to take care of their health is becoming more and more important. So I really agree with you here, João, that we need to not only just empower, but make sure that whatever the individual does to take care of their health, they have all the necessary tools to do this. So they would have the technology, they would have the people, and the professional people at the right time and at the right context. And that really and truly is only possible through digital health and MedTech. There's no two ways around this. Without technology, this will be extremely unsustainable and it will be extremely unscalable, if anything. So now we need to look to a future which is digitally enabled. So digitally enabled healthcare, now more than ever. So João, usually in your shows, you love to ask people, you give them 1 minute to raise awareness on the topic of their choice. So now I give that opportunity to you. So if you want to raise awareness on something in particular, I appreciate a lot of topics, but I'm sure that you come up with something unique. We've had in the past week we had about medical decision making, we had some about equity. So I am sure that you are going to inspire us today. So you have 1 full minute. Go for it, João, any topic of your choice. It doesn't have to be healthcare, something you really want to raise awareness on.
Oh, fantastic. I mean, you caught me by surprise, to be honest. Now, my digital health ads is thinking about wearables, yeah? And I'm going to say this. I have a vision and I believe that wearables can change the world, yeah? But I have a couple of causes that are close to my heart. I don't like injustice. That makes me so, and I'm big on education, even though I don't work in education. I would say one thing that I would really like to not see any longer, right from now on, would be child poverty and the anger that we see and people suffering. People from any ages, yeah, not just children, adults. And now we see a lot of injustice in the world, and we see war, and we see things are getting worse in certain countries. And it seems like we're entering a new phase. I'm not going to predict any 3rd or 4th world wars, but it seems like we are in a war, not just with the pandemic, but in certain regions. I hate to see that. I hate to see people suffering, but the child molesty and poverty, and I really suffer a bit with that because I do love children.
João, that is really, really such a strong topic, but I believe that it deserves the necessary attention. I am a father. I am lucky enough to be a father, just like you, and I think we have a lot to be grateful for there. But I definitely don't want that any child passes through the sufferings that they go through other countries because of inequity more than ever, because of what they go through. So definitely I want to make sure that we give equal opportunities to all children, Definitely. I really appreciated that comment. It's really unique. I mean, you're definitely the first one to raise awareness on this topic. So I'm really, really, really grateful for this. You know, João, time flies by when you're having fun. And I am extremely grateful that you've managed to fit us in your busy, busy schedule. And I just look forward to meeting you again. Maybe in Malta, maybe somewhere else. Hopefully in Malta. But I'm really looking forward to meeting you, João, again. And I hope to see you at your next show, or my show. We'll see about that. Cheers. Thank you very much, João. So a quick reminder to all our listeners/viewers who can follow us on all our social media channels. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, or Instagram through our MedTech World conference page. Or else, even you could find us on your favorite podcast player. We have a variety. You can be on Apple Podcasts, Anchor, Spotify, even like Overcast, Stitcher. I'm gonna literally run out of breath mentioning out all of them. So find us there, and we would love your feedback. So give us a rating, give us your feedback so that we can keep on doing better and better and better. I'd like to see you at the next interview. Cheers.